Joining me now to discuss INX Chief Marketing Officer Doug Borthwick. Doug, this pullback on Bitcoin and some of these other cryptocurrencies has me very intrigued. And I wouldn't say I was a non-believer, but I was a huge skeptic for a long time. But how can you stay skeptical when Mass Mutual says, okay, we're in, when Square says we can use it, when PayPal says we can use it? It feels like all of those barriers are fading away.
For sure, you're absolutely correct. I think that a lot of the time people were sitting there saying, look, this is something that's only used by drug dealers, by bad actors in the economy. And now you're finding out that your grandparents' insurance company's buying it as well. And the reason is, as you already alluded to, the dollar's weakening, but not just the dollar weakening, the yen's weakening, the euro's weakening, all against hard assets. And the hardest asset right now that folks are looking at is Bitcoin. And they look at Bitcoin, they look at Ethereum, they look at a whole bunch of different cryptocurrencies, and they say, here's something that's fixed in the number that are out there. And yet the dollar just keeps on getting printed because politicians these days, they can't sort of raise taxes to raise money. So they just ask the Fed to print more money. And when you're printing more and more money, it's not that Bitcoin's rising. It's just that the other currencies are dropping so fast in price that something like Bitcoin's like a life preserver that people are jumping onto and holding onto. If you own Bitcoin today, right, you can earn 6% at a lot of institutions. If you own the dollar today, you earn 0. If you own the euro, you get negative interest rates. So what do you want to own?
So let's talk about where it can go from here. Once it takes out that all-time high, I think is off to the races. Just as an observer of assets, right? This kind of breakout would be huge. But we're hearing numbers like 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. Is that pure hype, or is that realistic at some point down the road?
It's not hype. You know, JP Morgan today came out and said, based off of what they saw with the Mass Mutual purchase, which is only 100 million, if other companies in the U.S. did such a thing, there would be $600 billion of demand coming into an asset that only has a market cap of $300 billion today. So there you've got a lot of demand just from institutions. But on the same time, when folks see that institutions are buying, that investment companies are buying, that corporations are buying, they're all going to turn around the individual in the U.S. and say, you know what, maybe I should have some for my portfolio. And it's that global adoption. Yeah. And it's not just the U.S. that's buying this. It's people all around the world. They're all looking for a hard asset to own.
There's no doubt about it, Doug. This is feels like this is the debut, just the beginning of a leg up that really will be powered by the establishment and not just speculators. Well, you've been ahead of the curve. I appreciate you coming on with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.